Hey y'all, it's Megan, and in this video, I am sewing up the June pattern. I am making the sleeved version in this video. It is finished with a shelf bra. There is also a sleeveless version, and if you want to see how to sew up that one, I will link that video down below. The first step is going to be to sew the shoulder seams. So you're going to take your front and back main pieces and you're going to put them right sides together, and you are going to align the raw edges at the shoulders, and you are going to stitch those together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You are going to do the same thing with your shelf bra pieces. Put them right sides together and then sew them together at the shoulders using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then you're going to place your shelf bra right sides together with your main piece, and you are going to stitch them together along the neckline using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I do like to add 1/4 inch clear elastic to this seam. You're going to add it in a 1-to-1 ratio. You do not want to stretch the elastic as you sew. The reason is this neckline is quite wide, and so I like to have the stability of the clear elastic to hold it in place. And if you're going to use this as an athletic top, this really helps give you some stability in all of the seams so that it stays in place while you're working out. Now you can add the elastic in one pass, which is what I'm doing here. I'm sewing the 1/4 inch seam and adding the elastic at the same time with my serger. If you don't have a serger, or maybe your athletic knit is really slippery or you just can't seem to do it at the same time, you can sew this seam and then go back and add the elastic directly on top that 1/4 inch seam once you are done. Now you are going to press that shelf bra to the wrong side, and I like to press the seam toward the lining, and then I'm going to under stitch. So basically you are pressing that seam toward the shelf bra or lining, and you're going to stitch on that side, catching the seam under so that it always stays on the wrong side. I am using a stretch stitch here. It's a longer triple stitch. You could also use a chain stitch on your cover stitch if you prefer, or whatever favorite stretch stitch that you have. If you don't like the look of the understitch, even though you can't see it, this is what I prefer. You could also top stitch the neckline. Again, just make sure you're using a stretch stitch so this doesn't pop while you're wearing it. And then after you understitch, go ahead and give it another really nice press so that the shelf bra is sitting on the wrong side. Next, it is time to sew the side seams. So I have my top with right sides out, and I am going to pull the shelf bra pieces away from the main pieces so that they are right sides together along the side seam. And then I'm pinning my two main front and back pieces together at the side seam, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm pulling so that these are right sides together and that the side seams are aligning. And then again with the other side of your shelf bra piece, the front and back pieces together. And then once you have this all pinned, you are going to sew them together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side seam. So two side seams for the shelf bra and the two side seams for your main pieces. Once you have those side seams sewn, you are going to repress the shelf bra to the wrong side and align the arm side seams, or the arm side raw edges. You can, if you want to, baste the shelf bra and the main pieces together along the arm side. If your fabric is a little bit slick, this might help, especially if you're using an athletic knit. Sometimes those seem to be slippery. So here you go. You can see I'm pressing that shelf bra to the wrong side, align those arm side raw edges, and you can baste them in place. Set your bodice aside and grab your sleeve pieces. I do like to create a memory press on the bottom of the sleeve hem by pressing a 1/2 inch toward the wrong side. Then you're going to fold your sleeve in half so that they are right sides together, and you're going to stitch them using a 1/2 inch seam allowance from the underarm to the hem. Then you just need to refold that memory press up, which is why I like to do it flat. And then you're going to edge stitch that hem in place using your cover stitch or your favorite stretch stitch. Then you're going to repeat that step with your other sleeve, and then you are going to sew the sleeve to the bodice. So I like to flip the bodice wrong side out, and I have my sleeve right side out, and I'm going to put that sleeve inside of the bodice so that they are right sides together, and I'm going to align the side seams, and then I'm going to pin them together. The double notches are for the back, and the front notch is for the front. And then there's also a center notch that gets matched at the shoulder seam. Once you have your sleeve all pinned in place, then you are going to sew the sleeve to the bodice using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once you have it sewn, you're going to repeat this step and do it on the other side, and then give them a nice press with your iron. Now we need to finish our shelf bra. This is finished with a band. So you're going to take your band piece, you are going to fold it right sides together, and you are going to sew the short ends together to create a loop, and you're using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then you are going to take your elastic piece and you are going to overlap the elastic ends by 1/2 an inch, and you are going to sew them together using a wide zigzag. I like to sew a little rectangle over the overlapped pieces. If you don't want to add the band, you can most certainly just use a soft elastic and skip the band altogether. Then you are going to take your band piece and you are going to place your elastic over the band, and then you're going to fold that band piece around the elastic. I am also quartering it as I do this, so I use the seam and then I'm finding the center, then I'm matching those 2 points to find the 2 quarter points. You are also going to quarter the edge of your shelf bra piece as well. And you are going to put the band around the shelf bra piece with the right sides together and matching those quarter points. And the band should stretch to fit the shelf bra. And you are going to stitch these together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure not to catch that elastic in the seam. There should be enough room for your 1/2 inch seam, but just make sure the elastic is pressed all the way to the band fold line. Once this is sewn, then you can give it a nice press down toward the shelf bra. And if you want to, you could top stitch this in place. The final step to finish your June is going to be to hem the bottom of your crop or top. You are going to press 1/2 inch toward the wrong side and then edge stitch that hem in place. Once it's hemmed, then your June is complete. If you have any questions, as always, please leave them down below and I will try to answer them. If you make a June, we would love to see it posted in our Facebook group or tag me on Instagram at Made for Mermaids, hashtag Made for Mermaids Patterns, hashtag June pattern.